For loops are used for iterating over a sequence in Python. Like here, we can iterate in the range 3, but Python starts computing with 0 and doesn't count the last number 3 here. Now open with v4.py. Again, you will see an empty script like this, and stop your video here and write this code. Now the output of these two lines should be 0, 1, 2. Let me comment out this part, save my file and press F2. 0, 1, 2. Because I is first 0 when we write range in the parentheses 3, I is 0, 1 and 2. It doesn't count the third one. It counts 3 numbers from 0. In these lines we will start counting from 1, and then we will write 2 numbers until 3. Save this and then press F2 to see 1 and 2 here. We can also count 2 by 2 starting from 1, so it will type 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 here. Save it and then press F2. 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Again, it doesn't count the last number 10, and the skipping number is 2 here. If we type 3 here, save and run with F2, we will see 1, 4 and 8, 1, 4 and 7, but we will not see the 10. Press F2, 1, 4 and 7 is here. Now in this case, if we don't type range here, it will print whatever we have here. If we write range, it will count from 1 to 10. If we don't type range, it will just print these. It will just read the items of this list and then print them. Save it and then press enter. Press F2 to see this 1, 2 and 3. You can add some other items here like 4, 5. Save it and then you will see 4 and 5 also is 4 and 5 also are here. Now we can also print from strings like BU or SA here. In this case it will print B, U, R, S and A, just like this is a list, but this is a string actually. Save it and press enter to see B, U, R, S, A here. We can print them by just changing this line, by adding this and then quotation marks like this. You can print them in the same line, not like this one, but like this one. In the same line we can print them. But if we use that option here, we should put this /n to take these stars into the next line. First remove this and see what happens. Sorry. Save it and then press F2. These stars came here. When we use this AND to write in the same line, we should add a /n to tell Python skip to the next line. Then press F2. These stars came from here to the next line here. Now we have something else here. We can put a comma. To put commas, between these between these letters of this string. Comment out these 3 lines and press F2, then comma will be put here between the letters of Bursa. We can also print from lists. Put a separator here and then make a list as L, like this one. Then you can print the items of the list by just typing for I in L. L is list, and then I would like to print them in the same line, so I put this end here again. Press F2, then you will see the Bursa is coming from the list. Okay, like we can also add something here, like Bursa I like just type city, then press Bursa is a city. If we have 1 spaces here, here and here, we can have spaces here. Bursa is a city. Alright, now save this for.py and then exit. In our second example for loops, we will use for_arrays.py. v for_arrays.py. Now you will see this empty again. Please stop here and then write this code. Let me first make this smaller for you to see all the code here. As you see in the last example, here we can print from lists in the for loop just by typing for E in list, print the items of that list. But in NumPy, in the arrays which are created by NumPy, things changes. Now I will close this for.py and I first imported NumPy and then I make a NumPy zeros 10. Here it will first print my NumPy array including 10 pieces of zeros. Then for E in A, it will print the items of the array A. When I press F2, I will see that this is my array I generated with NumPy zeros 10, and these are the items in my array. As you see, the default type of the elements of my array are floating point numbers. Now when I want to make a list which is an empty list, I can use this b is equal to 2 square brackets, and then for I in A, b dot append to the like this one will append all the elements of A into the list of B. When I print it, it will print as a list, and when I want to print it as a NumPy array, I can convert it first and then print. When I press save it first and then press F2, you will see that this is the array B. This is the list B. I appended these in the for loop one by one, and then this is the array type of B. Now what happens here, I is first nothing, then it goes to A and read the first element of A, which is 0. It writes into the empty list which is named as B here. Then it goes back to here, reads the second element. It goes back to here, reads the third element, writes here. Fourth element writes here. Fifth element writes here. So it makes a loop here. When the elements of A finishes, and then it jumps to the 11th line here. We can use len to print the length of an array. So the length of our array A is just 10 here. So this length 10 divided by 2 is 5. But the output of this len A, is a floating point number 5.0. We cannot loop in for loops using the floating numbers. They have to be integers. So we just add here int to convert that 5.0 to integer 5. Then it means this for loop loops from 0 to 5 because we use range. Please remember our last code. You can open it with vsplit 4.py to here to check what was the range. When we write this, you remember that the output was 0, 1 and 2. So when we do this, this means 5. So it will just print 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. But I will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the 0th element of A will be appended into our empty list C here. Then it will go back and the first element of A will be appended to the C. The second element of A will be appended. Third element and fourth element will be appended to the list of C. Then it will exit from this for loop. When we print this NumPy array C, we will see 5 zeros. First, I pressed Ctrl Z and then files starting with dot. These files are written, so I will remove those and then I will just type for arrays.py here. Now I'm just working on here. I will see 5 zeros as my C list here, which is converted to an array here using the NumPy array. Now next one, here I am appending the float version of I. I is again 0 to 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So here 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 will be appended to my empty list, and then I will convert it into the NumPy array. When I press Ctrl V, when I save it and press F2, I will see these until 9 because I've not divided this one to 2. If you divide it to 2, like length over 2, then you will just see from 0 to 4, just as here. Okay. Now the next one is E. Here I make a random NumPy array with the size 3 by 5, having numbers between 0 to 10, which are the integers. First I will print the E, then I will use this way of printing, then I will use this way of printing. I will see what are these. Later I will use them as length in the for loop using range, and as length in the for loop using range again here. Now first let me comment out this part. I'm not commenting out import numpy because I use numpy here. Then I save it, then I press F2. This one is the random array with the size of 3 by 5. In the first line I used this way of printing E in the square brackets colon comma 0, so it prints the first column. Then I use E 0 comma columns, it prints the first row here. Later I put the length of this array into the for loop, so the length is 3, so it just prints 0 1 2. I put this one, the length of this one is 5, and it prints 0 to 4. Please stop here and try to understand what we do here. Later save this and then exit. We can also use multiple for loops together. Please open another Python file as for multiple.py. You will see an empty file like this. Stop the video here and write this code. Here we have two for loops inside out, and in the first loop it will start counting I from 0 to 2, so it will just print 0 and 1, and here it starts counting from 20 to 13 to 30, but it will counts 2 by 2. Later it will print I and j together. Let me first comment out this and then see the result of the first 3 lines. It types 0 and goes into next line and types 20. Let me open this one in screen. And then split my window like this, and then Python 3 for multiple.py. Output is here and my code is for multiple.py is here. Now this 0, first it reads I from this range, it is 0, then comes to the second line, j is 20, it prints 0 20. Because it is in this for loop now, in the second for loop now, it just goes one back to the second line and then increases j to 22. I is still 0, so it prints 0 and 22. Then again it goes back to the second line for 24, 26, 28. After 28 it sees that the upper limit is 30, so it goes to the first line and increases the I to 1. Then it prints 20, 22, 24, 26 and 28 in the second loop. Then it goes back to the first line and sees that the upper limit is 2, and then it exits from both for loops because it finished printing all the I and j values here. Now I will clear here I will resize my page to like 15, then go back, open these lines, and then close this one now. Here I generated three lists having strings. The first list is the names, John and Sophie, and the second list is the colors, red, yellow, and white, and the last list is the items, pen and car. I just want to print John has a red pen, John has a red car, John has a yellow pen, John has a yellow car, John has a white pen, John has a white car, then Sophie. Now here there's an example of doing that. It first reads the names. The first name is John, and then it checks if the name is John. If it is John, it reads the first color here, which is red. Then it goes to read the item, which is pen. Then it prints John has a red pen. Later it comes to the latest for loop, which is item, and it reads the last item, which is car. It again prints John has a red car this time. Later it finished reading the items, so it goes back here and reads the second color. It does for yellow, John yellow pen, John yellow car. Later it comes to here again and reads white. It prints John white pen, John white car. After finishing both of color and item lists, it wants to go back to here. It reads the second name, last name, Sophie, and comes to here and check if the name is John. It is not. Then it comes to here, which is else, and reads the color, red, reads the item, pen, and it prints Sophie doesn't have a red pen. And then it continues reading yellow, white, and car. Now please save this and then press F2 to see the results. I will both see my code and my results by doing this. Now here it reads John, and in the if statement it just writes red pen, red car, yellow pen, yellow car, white pen, and white car. Then finishing these two lists, it reads Sophie and then come here as else. Sophie doesn't have, here doesn't have, here has, doesn't have red pen, red car, yellow pen, yellow car, and etc. Okay, so we can use for loops in lists like this, and we can use for loops with if statements too, like this one. Save the for multiple.py and exit. Our next example is about while loops. Now, while, just like both for and if, we can use while loops if we want to use both for and if together, like it's both condition and loops. Please open your while.py code. You will see an empty file like this. Please stop the video here and write this code into your file. Now here we say that there is a variable so-called I, which is 1 here, and comes here and checks if 1 is smaller than smaller than 10. If it is, it prints I, which is 1 in the first line. Later it comes here and it adds I to 1. Actually this one is equal to I is equal I plus 1. Whatever I is here, it adds 1 to I. Later I became 2. comes here and check if 2 is smaller than 10. Yes, then it is printed. Then it comes here and makes it 3 this time. 3 is smaller. 4 is smaller. 5 is smaller. Until 10, it goes to here. While it is 10, then it jumps to the 5th line. Okay. Now let's comment out these lines first. Save it, and then let me run this here. While.py. So it prints 1, 2, 3, 4 until 9. Because I added AND here, it printed in the same line. If you don't add this AND, it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like in the next line. Because we have AND there, I just added this AND here as we do in the last example. Now here we have a second example. Let me comment out this part. Now we can use while with else, just we do in if. So while I is smaller than 10, it will again print I. But if I is larger than 10 or equal to 10, then it will print this one. I is greater than 10 exiting. Okay. This time I'm adding 2 to 1. So in the first we will see 1 here, then it will be 3. It will check if it is smaller than 10, it will print 3. 5 is smaller than 10, 5. 7 and 9 are smaller than 10. Then it will come here with I is equal 11. This condition will not be true. Then it will come here and it will say that 11, which will be printed here, is greater than 10 exiting. I put this one here because 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 will be printed in the same line, and then it will go to the next line and then it will print 11 is greater than 10 and exiting. Now I'm running the code again. I forgot to save it. I save it and then running the code again. So it is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and then 11 is greater than 10 exiting. Okay, so we can use while and else together. Now in the next video we will learn about writing files in Python.